when you get divorced, and if you're thinking of getting divorced, you need to think about rebuilding your life, reassessing your goals, figuring out what your strengths are, and maybe, for the first time in your life, looking at yourself and saying, who am I really? Frightening question, which is why a lot of people stay married to people that they don't love, because they don't really know who they are, and they don't even want to find out who they are, because there's a part of them that might say, oh my God, I don't even like myself. But everyone has amazing gifts, and you need to fulfill your goals and your desires and your wishes, because we only have one life right now. If you've just gotten divorced and you have to figure out, how do I get my life back on track, because you feel totally stuck, and it's a frightening feeling. You wake up in the morning and you really just want to put the covers over your head and you want to stay in bed, and you don't really even know how to tell your friends that you're getting divorced, and you don't even know how to tell your parents that you want to get divorced, because they really think he's wonderful. And even if they don't think he's wonderful, they've been pretending that he's wonderful for so long. They have to have a whole new role too, so that actually everyone in your world now has to change their life to deal with your divorce. That's a very interesting concept, because it's like dominoes. Everything is going to shift, and it's going to be a major life shift. The first thing you need to do, which you should have done before you got divorced, but you could do it now and you have to do it now, is to create a safety net around you. A safety net is figuring out who in your life makes you feel safe. Do you have specific friends? Do you have one friend that makes you feel safe? Do you have a brother, a sister, an aunt, someone who makes you feel safe? That will be part of your support system. If they are not related to you, then you're going to have to find them. If they're friends that you need to take kind of out of storage because in your marriage you isolated yourself, you need to pick up the phone, and you need to really have a lot of moxie right now. You need to take control of your life, because maybe in your marriage you said to your husband, or your husband said to you, you want my arm? Take my arm. You want my leg? Take my leg. This is time for you now, whether it's a man or a woman, to take back all the parts that you've given away and to pull yourself together. And when you're pulling yourself together, then we need to assess, what are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What is it that I can do? Who can I work for? Can I work for myself? What do I need to shift in my life? Who's going to help me with my children? So that you really need to create a world around yourself so that you could function and get through the day. And literally one day at a time, until you're flying through your days. And at some point, and then all of a sudden, you wake up one day and you go, oh my God, why didn't I do this 5 years ago? I feel so wonderful. I feel so free. I feel like the burden of the world is off my shoulders. I'd say to that person who says, you're going to have a separation for a long time, why are you doing that? Explain to me why you're doing that. And so the person might say, well, you know, my husband has a girlfriend and I'm dating this guy, and you know, we both have so much money, we just don't know what to do with our money, and you know what, it's better this way. And I say, whoa, that's a very, 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 very big mistake. And now that's my own personal opinion. And that is born out of that until you're able to let go, once you decide that you're going to be sleeping with another person, once you decide to be enmeshed in someone else's life, and then you make a conscious decision, but I'm going to stay married to my ex-husband, but I'm going to stay married to my ex-wife, what you're really saying is, I really can't make a total commitment to that new person. I really cannot totally move on with my life because all our funds are merged together. And I say, that's not a good excuse. There's no reason for you to have separate lives and still be married. If you have separate lives, you need to let go. You need to cut the cord. You need to be able to take your life and take your freedom and make a conscious choice that you're going to have closure and you're going to move forward. Anything else means that one of the two parties is just not ready to get divorced yet. The impact of a long delay and not getting divorced is going to create a scenario where you're never really free and you're never really able to make a commitment to another individual. And you're doing something much more harmful. The impact is pretty critical down the road. And the impact is a little scary. If there are children involved, the impact is that the kids, even though you might be living with another person, even though both of you might be living with another person, the kids, no matter how old they are, they could be 21, they could be 5, because they're going to feel and think the same way. And this is what they're going to say to themselves: I bet they might get back together. And so they have a fantasy now, and they're living in a fantasy world that mommy and daddy might get back together again. And that fantasy that the kids have, when one of these relationships sours, then one of the people is in the couple might have that same fantasy. You know, I don't think he's going to end up with her. I'm going to just wait because maybe we will end up together. So that life just starts stagnating, and it's really not over until the fat lady sings. And really what I mean by that is you have to move on. You have to be able to stop and to say there has to be closure here. Because with the divorce comes pain, comes resentment, comes anger. And if it's what some people call a healthy divorce, there's a mourning period. And what happens in that mourning period? What happens if you're separated for 5 years, for 10 years, and then all of a sudden, one of the other couples says, you know what, I want to get married. And so now suddenly you have to run and get a divorce. The other person might not be ready for your divorce. So now suddenly you're getting divorced, and all of a sudden, you're going to go through an anniversary syndrome of the mourning that you might have felt 5 years before, because you weren't quite ready for that closure. What I'm suggesting is to have the closure when you know you're getting divorced, to do it, cut your losses, and if you say, oh my God, I'm going to lose so much money, it's not about the money. It's really about the emotional impact that it will have on you, that it will have on your family, that it will have on your parents, that it will have on your children. It's just not worth it. It's just not worth the pain that you're going to go through again and again and again. In Judaism, when someone you love dies, you're given a year of mourning. And there's a week, and then there's a month, and then there's a year. It's going to take at least a year for you to get through your feelings and to move on. You have to give yourself that year. And do not quickly marry the first person that you meet, because that person might just be filling your needs for that time before you've even learned who they are and who you are. So now you're really going to have to reassess your life, and I'm not kidding. It might be for the very first time in your life. You have to look at your life and say, who am I? What do I need to do to make my world better? And who are the people who I could surround myself with that could help me change? Big. It's big, big, big work.